This is A1. It's Anaheim. Let's go. Listen to the roar of the crowd. It's his first A1 win. Cooper Webb is the 2025 Monster Energy AMA Supercross champ.
There you go. It's 2026 SMX World Championship kickoff week, RV. Here we are, Title 24, starting it off right on a Monday. Before we get going, we got to thank all of our sponsors: United Motorsports, Quadlock, Boxo, Dunlop, and Cardo. You guys are the best. Thank you very much. Looking to an incredible season. Great to be back. Second show of the year already. I don't know about you, RV, what you did, but I had an awesome New Year's. I was able to stay up until the first, which is this is the first time I've done that in a while. But nevertheless, dude, I'm glad we got through it. Hopefully everyone had a new year, and I'm ready to get going. As far as you, what did you do for New Year's? Did you do anything fun? Any cocktails? Like what was it?
Yeah, it was good. Mellow, you know, kids tried to stay up. We actually were going off of, started to go off New York time and then lost that channel. And we went to I guess it would be Tennessee going off those. But yeah, it was good. Mellow New Year's Eve for us, stayed local, stayed at home, and then had a bunch of rain leading into that. Obviously leading into Anaheim 1, we've had some rain on the West Coast, and actually now I popped up to Washington State to help my grandparents get their new trailer put in place here soon. So just bouncing around, man. Start of the year is busy already.
Yeah, you're a great man, dude, for what you're doing up there. That's awesome. Obviously, your grandparents are very special to you. So that's cool, man. Sucks, but what went down, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you get how long you think you're gonna be up there? Like how long you think the process gonna take?
I actually have my flight. I need to get it all done today and tomorrow. My flight's Wednesday to get back home, go pop into the AIM show. You'll be there, RC, at the AIM show for a little bit.
That's right.
And then get credentials and boom, man, A1, it's here. It's like, it's happening. So week before, or, the week leading in. And I think there's a lot of hype like usual. Anaheim 1 is always brings in the butterflies from the fan standpoint, but also, as you know, the rider standpoint.
Things sure did. Another thing that got going also was the Dakar Rally started this weekend on Saturday. Ricky Brabeck, we've had him on Title 24 before, riding for that Monster Energy Factory HRC team. He's currently third right now in the bike division. He won. He's the first American to win that race. And he won it back. He's won it twice. He won it in 2020 and 2024. That's such a gnarly race. I know, right? What those guys do, the speeds they go, navigating while on the fly. Another fan of ours, and just a great guy, Aussie. He won last year. Chucky Sanders. So it's going to be fun to check in with him every day. I believe on Peacock. So pretty exciting. We got two guests today on the show, RV. One guest that we've had before, Clinton Fowler. He's going to give us some numbers and fun stuff leading into Anaheim and some storylines there. Maybe some numbers that'll help you guys if you're making your bets, what have you. And then a new member to the Title 24 team, RV. You've been a massive pusher for this, and he's going to be boots on the ground for us, and that's Micheal Antonovich. Super stoked to bring him on. He's with Course Heading, been around all the time. Fantastic dude. But nevertheless, let's get into it. Let's get cracking with the United Motorsports moment of the week. And of course, it's got to be Anaheim 1 RV and the highly anticipated start of 2026. We got a pretty much a full stack of guys, both classes. Really excited about that, obviously with the exception of Jet Lawrence. But I think the floodgates are open, and I'm really stoked about it.
Yeah, they are. See, what about A1 means to the sport? A1 is obviously the kickoff to the season. What's it mean to you? What's it mean to the industry? RC, take that away.
Yeah, that's a good question, RV. For me, and we've talked about it quite a bit. Like, obviously, I'm always stoked to get the season going. I think from a fan's perspective, a manufacturer's perspective, Feld Entertainment, Feld Motorsports, the whole crew, everyone behind the scenes, I think are for the most part are stoked to get going. It's
Mhm.
huge. It's like any other big league starting up. Opening season, opening day is so much fun. So I think it's a great time for the sport, the sponsors, everybody involved. I think I would say 98% of the racers are stoked and ready to get the ball rolling. For me, I always wanted to get it done and dusted. I never really put a whole lot of emphasis on winning Anaheim one an opener. I was a long picture guy or big picture guy, as you know. Of course, did I want to win? Absolutely, but I always wanted to get out of there with a podium was always my goal. Wasn't always I never really accomplished that very much. I don't know, I wasn't able to get it done there for some reason. And maybe that's where my approach in the long game kind of bit me in the ass a couple times. But I had some good showings, but never to my true potential. But so I think again, I think it's strategy. It's strategy for some guys and what they want to do and what Anaheim really means to them. But overall, RV, to land my plane, I think it's a exciting and fun day for sure. So for
Yeah.
you, I mean, I believe you won Anaheim. Did you win the opener?
I've won the opener twice. Yep, twice. Two times
Yeah.
I've got to win Anaheim one, and also two other times that we're talking 450.
Yeah.
Pretty horrible finishes. That's one race coming in that you kind of, like you said, you want to win it, but you know that winning it doesn't secure any type of championship because it's round one. Points are great. Leaving there top five is kind of where you want to be. Top three. But I was lucky enough to win it two times in a row, or not two times in a row, but two times in my 450 stint career. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of hype coming into that race. But I just, it's kind of like, I don't want to say the words birth of Supercross, right? But like from myself, I always think of Anaheim, that stadium, the kickoff of Supercross. And that's kind of where it all starts, motocross and Supercross, Southern California. That's kind of where it all kind of started.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this. Like, so we're talking about, I think, it for most people in the sport, yourself included, I think, everyone is always just so stoked. The fans, it's always so cool to see how amped they are. And just everybody. It's like the first day of school, right? But like for you going in there, you're a big picture guy, four-time Monster Energy Supercross champ. Tough to do. You're on the list of very few that have been able to win 4 Supercross championships. What was your mentality like? I know that you liked it, but was it the end all be all or what? Yeah, straight up, what was your approach?
Well, I think into Anaheim one, right? Coming in, everybody's put in tons of work. The team, the riders, myself, you coming in as athletes. There's a quick question that you question coming into Anaheim: have I done enough? Have I exposed myself enough or put myself in the right positions to where Anaheim's and the season's going to come relatively easy? And I don't use the word easy very lightly, but have we done enough? Is the bike in the position that it needs to be in? So as humans, as athletes, you always kind of question that. But man, when the lights go out, instinct kicks in. But for me, I came into Anaheim one, obviously trying to leave there, played the long game, like you said. Eldon was a big part of that too, where it's just like, hey
Yeah.
man, if we can win it, by all means, let's
Yeah.
take that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what we don't want to do, and it happened to me one season, I don't remember the year, it was after winning, but I ended up 16th, I believe, leaving Anaheim. So I had to dig myself out of a hole. And I don't think I dug myself completely out of that hole till around Daytona.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I took a ride out in 2002. Yeah, I rode out on the Alpine Star medical unit. So there's that, but
Is
you know
that
what I
the
mean?
one? That's the one that step up before the whoops, right? Where was that when Larocco ran over your legs, went over the
Yeah,
bars?
yeah, that's
Right.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
remember
it.
that. I was in the stands then.
Yeah, you was still a young buck. You was still a
Yeah.
young buck. All right. Well, let's get into it. United Motorsports moment of the week. We always start our show off with that. And that was it. So we'll see what everybody's approach is. Again, I think it's dependent upon who you talk to and what they're feeling. United Motorsports, if you haven't been there, go to unitedmotorsports.com/title24, enter your email, you get a $15 credit towards your first order. Then you will be automatically entered to win weekly drawings for $50 credit to your next order. Moving along, the Dunlop debate, and it's going to be interesting. So I heard that they've made some massive improvements, if you can believe this, to the scoop, and that it's going to be usable on a lot of the tracks, even hard packed. Your prediction is Eli Tomac going to be on the scoop?
He ran the scoop more times than not when you wouldn't think he was going to run it on the Yamaha. Obviously, moving to a new manufacturer, he's going to be seeing a bunch of different tracks and soils, on the KTM. I presume that with just the quality that, SMX track crew are able to produce at these races, I do think that we'll see a lot of the scoop ran. I don't want to say majority of the time, but a lot of times, especially when you can get away with it. As we know, the start is so important. And if you can get that, and that tire helps you put yourself in a good position off the gate drop, it's huge. It's huge for that 20-minute main event. It makes a huge difference. And I think we're going to see it a lot, RC. I do. I mean,
yeah.
It reminds me of running that Dunlop 62 that I ran a lot. I was the only one running it. Carcass was very soft. You could feel the rim, but I knew what it was going to do. And it kind of seems like that's what the scoop tire is these days is 62.
I was the same way. Fan question real quick before we get down to the breakdown of the faux 50 class. Let's see here. Emily Drelwick. Who is going to do the best this weekend that switch bike brands this year? That's a pretty good question. I don't know. I think for me, RV, before we get into it with the riders and everything, I think a lot of it's going to come down to who's the most comfortable on their new bike in a race situation. I like the fact that Eli has a couple races under his belt compared to Chase. That doesn't mean that I'm saying that Eli is going to do better. Let's just get that clear and out in the open. Who gets the better start? I think if Chase gets the whole shot and Eli isn't right there, it's going to be interesting. I really do think it's going to be start dependent this weekend. Nevertheless, I'm excited to see them both racing the SMX World Championship, on new bikes, and it's just different. No matter how well the bike was working in the off season leading up to this race, RV, how it's completely different when now all the marbles are on the table and they're going for this title. It's amazing how sometimes the bike works a little bit different than it was up until now. Go for it.
I agree with that, RC, man. I think, like I mentioned, a little bit of weather leading into this past week into the opener. Anaheim can give you multiple different scenarios when it comes to like how the track develops and breaks down. With the moisture that has been out there in Southern California, it could develop to where it's a tough track, maybe not super, super ruddy, but a lot of feedback, some braking bumps and things like that. So, like you said, translating from the test track in all off season to the opener with all the nerves coming in and with all the hype around it, the kickoff, maybe just riders in general. Some of them struggle with that much pressure on top of them. They'd rather just get this one out of the way and move on to round two, and let those cards kind of fall where they're going to fall. So I'm excited. I think Chase is going to do well. I think Eli is going to do well. But like you said, Chase hasn't had a gate drop on the Kawasaki. So that's going to be interesting. It'll be his first one here at Anaheim 1, and I'm looking forward to it. That's for sure.
Yeah. What about another fan question? I like this. _ Bruce Bayer _ do you guys expect growing pains with Sexton or instant front runner? You answer that. Go for
it. I think they're gonna have growing pains. Is it gonna be exposed here at Anaheim 1? I don't know that, right? Like we don't know what is going to be exposed. You know, he's got a great team around him. You know, I feel like we kind of talked about this on the pre-show here on Title 24. I have the feeling that Chase is matured and has moved on to better things with himself, not necessarily the motorcycle or team or anything like that. He's older, more mature. So man, I think he's going to do well. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. I listen, Bruce, I'm with RV on this. I do feel like, you know, you learn things, especially on a new bike and how it works in race situations. You know, I just think about how Eli raced those off-season races. It's still not the same as racing and lining up for SMX, where, you know, these guys want this title. Did they want the title and did they want to do well overseas? Of course they did. But this means
Mm,
so much. You know, it's like the All-Star games
yeah.
in big league sports. It's like they want to do well, but it's more for fun and making some money, obviously. And you get a good gauge of where you're at. But this is what it's all about. This is what these guys are contracted to race, and the championships that they are contracted to win for the manufacturers. So it packs a little more punch, and then, you know, that's when things start working a little bit differently. So I think they're all going to go through growing pains, and this is where you see who is better at dealing with things that aren't perfect in perfect scenarios. And for me personally, that's what I love, watching the best in the world, the best guys in the world navigate through that. And I think of of guys that have been able to do that really well and like doesn't let them phase them, RV, and that's Cooper Webb. I
Mm.
feel like, you know, he can take a bike or race with a bike that maybe isn't the best, or maybe he's not feeling the best, and he doesn't let that ruin his night. I feel like that's the reason he's been able to win 3 Monster Energy Supercross championships. I really believe that. I mean, the guy he's a wizard on the mental game. As far as the A1, he's never won A1. I think it'd be incredible if he won it. That'd be cool. Nice little feather in his cap for sure. But RV, when you think of Cooper Webb, and I go back to the conversation we were having at the top of the show, do you think he puts a lot of stake in winning Anaheim 1? Like, where do you think like his mental approach is, and do you think that's maybe why he hasn't won Anaheim 1? Do you think he can do it?
I mean, I think yes, I think he can do it. Coop could win A1, but I don't think he puts a lot of thought into winning A1. I think he's one of those calculated decision makers that knows how long the season is, and puts himself in a great position. We've talked about it many times around that Daytona time, boom, and then he you know, he runs with it then. But sure, I believe that every one of those riders goes into A1 and is looking to put themselves in the best positions, and if that opportunity is in front of them of winning A1, it is a prestigious race to win. You know, kickoff of the season. I think it has more merit in winning A1 than say round 3, 4, or 5. It's great to win one of those rounds, but it's always special to win Anaheim 1. I always look back and say Anaheim 1 was a very special one to win. Daytona is a very special one to win. You know, those are kind of the two for me. Obviously, when it closes down to the end of the season, winning those races is huge also. But those, for me, those two I look at as I don't know, special rounds to win, you know. And you know, so that moves me on to Eli Tomac, 2-time SX champ, won A1
Yep.
in 23.
Mm-hmm.
What's your predictions? Not predictions, but how are you feeling? New team, like we saw, he does have a couple of gate drops under his belt. Where do you sit with Eli?
Yeah, I mean, I like where he's at. I having an opportunity to talk to him in December and where he's at in his career, the positive things that he had to say about the bike RV. I have high hopes for him. He did really well in the off season. Seems like he's had a great a really good offseason of prep as well. And I just feel like as long as he is able to stay healthy, he's one of the top guys for that championship. I really, truly believe that. And if he's anything like I was, and I'm just speaking from my personal experience and what it was like for me, it was really easy for me to embrace the work and embrace the grind later in my career, especially the last year when I knew that was the end of it. And it was just so much easier to attack the day and to attack the weeks because I knew like, I didn't have to find that limit anymore. I could just let it all go because I didn't have to hold back for anything. And I'm hoping that's where he's at. And I'm hoping that he can stay healthy. And I think he has one of the best opportunities to get the job done and to win that championship because there's, I think that because he's just rock solid. He does everything so well and the experience and where he's at with his age. And he doesn't have to worry about stepping it up from a speed perspective. When we talked about it last week on the show with Jet, I think that's a dodged bullet that everyone is going to have to not worry about. And I think it plays right into his hand a lot with the other guys.
Yep. I agree. Man, there's so many more on that whole roster, that gate lineup. You got Hunter Lawrence.
Yeah.
I think he's going to
Where are
be
you
good.
at? So where are you at with Hunter? Like like you think about Hunter, he kind of got hosed last year. Remember he got hurt at Tampa and then we didn't see him, but he came back out, did a hell of a job in the motocross season, really good right there in the playoffs, almost won the SMX World Championship against his brother, came up just shy. Where are you at with Hunter in your expectations?
I mean, his trajectory has been not super steep, but he's gotten better just like from the 250, moving up to 450. He's shown speed. I think he's one of those guys that are going to, once again, he's going to be a player in the championship. I think he's more comfortable. He's more established. He's more mature. I feel like take Hunter and Jet, like Jet takes the bull by the horns and Hunter kind of lets it come a little bit slower, is what I feel like for him. So I feel like he's in a great position coming into this season. He's got a lot more seat time on that motorcycle. And I just, we've seen it in the past. We know how Honda works their program. Obviously Jet and Hunter testing side by side, try this, try that. So I think they have probably some of the best setup out there that they've come up with because of the team and how Dazzy runs their program. So it's got big expectations for Hunter.
Hey, before we go to the 250 West, we could sit here and talk about so many other guys. I mean, we got a whole bunch on our list right here. Any dark horses out there? Like, I mean, dude, Mookie could be great. Like he could win the damn thing. Looking here, Roxon, Anderson. I don't know about Barsha. Barsha broke his collarbone. So if he's going to race, I'm not sure if he is racing or not on that new Ducati. That would be a tall order to expect him to win A1. But I mean, any dark horses there? I wouldn't even really call Ken Roxon and Anderson dark horses. Those guys, I mean, well, let's see. Kenny's won the damn race 4 times.
I know. You know how A1 is I wouldn't call them dark horses. It just depends on it's the pressure that race brings into and puts on these riders. And
that's right.
We've had riders in the past that you wouldn't have thought would win Anaheim 1 or do as well as they do. And then you've had riders that you'd think, okay, one of those 2 or 3 are going to win, and those 2 or 3 weren't even on the podium. So that's the special, the atmosphere that Anaheim 1 brings into is you don't kind of know what you're going to get. Like I've said before, around 3, 4s, and 5s, that's kind of when the cards all fall. Everybody takes suit on where they're going to kind of establish themselves. But A1, everybody comes in full of piss and vinegar and ready to show up, right? And you just don't know what you're going to get. Some guys show up on, some guys show up off.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, dude. It's just like everyone, they probably, all your buddies are saying, who's going to win? Who's going to win? My dude, I don't know, and honestly, it's not gonna change your life. It ain't gonna damn sure ain't gonna change my life of who wins. I just wanna see a good race, and other than Jet, it's a stacked field,
Yeah.
and it's just gonna be an hell of an event to watch, and that's what we should all be stoked for. Who cares who wins? Let's just see a good race, and it'll be fun. Moving along, big dog, 250s. We talked about Hayden a little bit. Joe isn't going to be racing. He's still rehabbing. So I'm guessing he's going to be on the East Coast.
Mm.
Hopefully he'll be 100% by then. But let's see here. Levi Kitchen, where you at with him? What are you expecting? What should be his goal for this weekend?
I'm gonna be honest. I think Levi should. I put him first, second, third, and that's where he needs to be. I think he needs to start off a strong season, the opener, put himself in a good position, build that confidence. I think that's what Levi lacks a little bit in certain scenarios. Is man, he'll come out swinging at some of these different rounds and put himself up front, looks amazing, and will ride amazing and do amazing and have a strong finish. But then one weekend after that, well, like where's Levi? What happened to him, right? So I think his goal, because everybody has that end goal, is to win that West Championship. He needs to start off strong and be consistent. Consistency is what Levi needs to lean on this year and make sure that he's there every single round.
Where are you at with Hymus coming off an ACL injury? Where do you feel like what should be his targeted goal for the opener of Anaheim?
Yeah, Chance, man, he's shown speed in the past, lots of it too. Once again, hasn't been as consistent as he's probably wanted. He's been dealing with injuries, knee injuries, for example, a few of those in the past. I think same thing with him, consistency, putting himself in a good position, but also, being smart about it, because you can't win anything sitting on the couch, right? So Chance has the speed. Team Honda, the 250F is it's a great bike. He's shown it in the past. So I believe that he needs to be consistent. That's for sure. What's your take on Ryder D, RC?
Oh, dude, I think Ryder D is going to have a breakout year. I think he's going to do well. I'm calling it right now. I don't like making predictions, but maybe I'm not making a prediction. Maybe that's what I'm hopeful for him for. I love the gains that he's made physically. He's put a lot of weight on. I say a lot. He's gotten much stronger off the bike. I think that's going to support him and his abilities of what he's able to do on the motorcycle. I think it's going to help him as far as preventative maintenance goes, with potentially not getting injured, which is always key. That's why you work so hard. That's why I worked so hard. So everybody works hard. It's not only just to be strong on the motorcycle, but preventative maintenance as well. And I think having a decent SMX playoffs last year until he got hurt, he was running really well. I think because of that and how well he was doing, and he's had a good off season. He's starting in California. That's where he's grown up his whole life. Just Bakersfield there, I believe it is. I think he's going to do well. I think he's one of those guys that he is going to have a breakout year, without a doubt. Kind of like what Cole Davies did last year. We got to see some sprinkles of just how much of a badass and what his potential could be. I know that Ryder D has been in there a few years longer, but I feel like even though it has taken him some time, he's had a little rough patch, but I think he's on the other side of that, and I have really, really high hopes for him, and that's the guy that my radar is going to be on. So one other guy that I feel like is in that scenario, because he showed us some stuff last year a little bit, and he's on that Club MX Yamaha team, Max Folan. Where are you at with him? And do you feel, RV, that Max could have a breakout here and expand on how well he did last season in the East Division, I believe?
Well, I think number one, obviously, he had I think it was a hip dislocation a year and a half ago ish, right? So he's running that rear brake no longer on his foot using the foot brake. It's up on the clutch side, right? So an amazing story when it comes to what he's been able to produce on the motorcycle, with having to completely change his riding style, right? His rear brake is no longer down using his right foot. It's up on top of the clutch lever. ASV has made him this custom brake lever right above. So that alone is a feat in itself. But yes,
that's gnarly, dude.
It very is. And my prediction for him, what would be a solid Supercross season and motocross would be to finish Supercross number 1 inside the top 5, right? And every weekend, and potentially hit the box a few times, right? I think that would be huge in a guy in his position. It can't be easy relearning how to ride your motorcycle when we've grown up with a foot brake your entire life and having to now on a hand rear brake. So along with the conditions that we've seen, that we saw last year on the Supercross track, so ruddy, so technically challenging. So something special to see. I think a massive win for Max would be ending up in the top 5, potentially a few podiums this season.
Every weekend for sure. You know what, dude? I got to ask you, we haven't talked about it much. And before we get to the dark horses on the 250, it's a little less, I think, in the 250 class than there is the 450 class as far as dark horses and some outliers, if you will. Dude, I'm not sleeping on Max Anstey. You go back to last season before he got injured, that dude was rolling, bro. I'm telling you, man, I don't know. Like, I just have this feeling of we hadn't talked about it much and we're forgetting how well he did until he injured himself last year. And I don't know why he wouldn't be even better than he was last year. He's got plenty of experience, world experience. I don't know. I don't know if he can run with Deegs in a championship. Maybe he can. I don't know.
I think he was a red plate holder for a while there. RC
he
wasn't he?
was. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I've said it in the past, like you said, world traveled, raced, so many different places, conditions, countries.
That's right.
Started in Europe, here in the US, back to Europe, now back in the US. Yes, he's a bit older, which is where that maturity comes into racing that in the 250 class. I think he can be, to your point, I think he can be up there. Does he race Hayden for a championship at the very end of this? I don't know. I'd love to see it. And if so, I can't wait to hear the interview.
Yeah. That's right. I don't know about any dark horses like that is going to come out and be championship contenders. It's not a slight towards anybody. Moseman could be good. The dude's always been fast. My biggest thing with him is if he can keep it on 2 wheels. I hope so. All right, McAdoo. We didn't talk about him. Is he racing West? So I don't even know who's racing what. So
I believe he is racing West. Another phenomenal rider, just hasn't had that consistency in his back pocket. Dealt with lots of different injuries. I think his knee was, one of the last ones, knee or shoulder. I think for him, putting himself in a good position. And when I think of good position for Cameron is racing for race wins. If the championship falls, in his corner, that would be totally phenomenal. But I think number one is making it through the entire season without an injury. He's had injuries in the past, and typically a lot of his crashes, they're not small. No. He's tougher than nails because his, like I said, a lot of his crashes are spectacular. So I hope he cleans that up, and I think for
he
him,
hangs it out, doesn't he, dog?
He does. For him and for Mitch's sake, I'd love to see, the Monster Energy Kawasaki, Pro Circuit Kawasaki up front, and being in that podium position, fighting for it, staying off the ground.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the end of it. We got to take a quick break. That's the end of the Dunlop debate section. It's going to be exciting. I will tell you, like, I'm tired of talking about it. I'm ready for these guys to race so we can just break it down and talk about what we saw after a damn race. When we come back from break, we're going to introduce again, like we talked about at the top of the show, a new team member to Title 24, and that's Micheal Antonovich with course heading. He'll be our boots on the ground at the races, and we'll get to go in depth, and he'll be able to explain to all of you what his jobs and duties are and all that fun stuff. So we'll be right back with you. Welcome back to Title 24. Big news today as we kick off our call from Cardo section. RV has been pushing for this for a couple years now, and RV, I've been full support. We're able to make this happen. JH worked hard to make it happen as well. We had some willing partners to jump on board to help this out. And I think it's going to take Title 24 to the next level. RV, again, I'm going to keep saying it because you have been a huge proponent of this. And it's the newest member. I want to give him a warm welcome to the team, Title 24. From course heading, none other than Micheal Antonovich. He is going to be our boots on the ground guy. Micheal, come on in. There he is, our man of the week. He's going to be doing the heavy lifting. But you know what? I'm just going to turn it over to you. We're pumped and stoked to have you on the team. And what's it like, dude? What the hell are you going to be doing? What are you doing? Like, explain to everybody so we don't have to do all the talking.
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to say thank you to you guys both for this opportunity. We tested it around a couple times last year. It was a lot of fun because, as I'm sure people that watch this know, I've been around the sport for forever. This will be my 15th year as a full-time media representative. Did it with Trans World Motocross for a handful of years, and then did Swap Moto Live with Don Maeda and the crew for a bit. But then last year, wanted to go my own way and just kind of tell the stories that I want to tell without being on the tight deadline of what we had been on for so long. And so I launched Course Heading. I'm just able to see the things that are out there, tell different stories, see different things, learn different things about racing that I've been just so consumed on forever. But then, as you can see through this other stuff, I do a little bit of service work as well. So I manage Justin Cooper's helmets for HJC. I do some gear service things for O'Neill. And then I'm running around the track to make sure that I get the content and the photos and the news to get it out there. So I love being part of the sport. I love, like what you can see through these photos, that front row seat, feeling what it feels like when the gate drops, when you feel the bikes come through the rhythm section and the ground shakes, when the crowd makes a lot of noise, when they start seeing a pass get teed up a few corners ahead of time. It's awesome. And then I've gotten to watch you guys for forever. It's been amazing. It's been amazing to see the dedication that it takes to get to this level in the sport. And I've learned so much through 15 years. You know, I'm 35 years old. This is the only job I've ever really had. But that dedication that it takes to be good in this industry is contagious. And everybody has that, from the riders to the mechanics to the truck drivers to the people that build the tracks and make sure everything goes on. And just to have this kind of opportunity with you guys this year and showcase what I'm capable of on a great format like Title 24, it's the dream.
Yeah, Anton, no, thanks for jumping on board, man. We've worked together for a long time. You know, I think the sport's very special to every one of us. But to have boots on the ground like yourself, what I felt like I really wanted to see from Title 24 was a lot of the behind the scenes things, what the fans or even myself sitting at home watching the broadcast that you don't get to see, say right down on the podium right after a main event, things like that are special things to see. Get that behind the scenes footage and get it up on Title 24 and be able to use those is, I think, something that we've been missing. And like RC said, big proponent of it, and he loves it too. I'm stoked to have you on and producing content, boots on the ground content at the track that we've missed for a few years now. You know, I'm glad to have you on as one of the teammates here at Title 24, and I'm sure you're stoked to get the season started in this position.
Oh yeah, I'm thrilled. You know, as we know, this last couple weeks of the holidays are great, but it's a whirlwind. Your mind's already thinking about that flight that you got to take to get to Southern California and those days at the stadium and how fast everything is going to go. And I mean, that's where my head's been at these last few weeks. But just to know, like, hey, another one's coming, ready
Yeah.
to get after it and ready to show what I see. Because exactly like what you said, RV, it's that ambient, you know, just what's it like? What's it like to be down there when there is no music editing overhead and you don't really have to set the tone? What's happening in front of you speaks for itself when you just see the raw emotion of somebody trying to psych themselves up before the 30-second card goes through, or when they make a mistake, or when they clean a section, and then that, you know, thrill of victory, agony of defeat moment around the podium. I mean, how do you beat that? And I'm excited to show that to you guys. And I mean, to do it with two of the greatest riders in all time history of the sport. And then for NBC, like, how's it getting
Yeah.
better?
Thanks for again, like I just echo everything that RV said, dude. We're super stoked. This is one area for sure. I mean, we're always trying to improve. Everybody is, right? And trying to evolve and progress. And RV, you've been on our ass. This is where we needed to be, and I couldn't agree more. So stoked to have you again. Echo what RV said. I just like, so a typical race weekend and what that would be like. I know now, like, so people are going to be saying, well, how does it work and everything? And what I'm envisioning is that we'll be texting you like, hey, I saw this guy do this, you know, can you get a word from him? You know, the behind the scenes stuff like RV's talking about. But I just want to know, because I don't know how you do it, because I suck at it. And I hate asking people for shit. So like, what's the approach, and how do you get this rapport with the riders, and what's the challenging parts of the behind the scenes and getting the meat that people really like to get? Where do you, like, say, run into roadblocks, or what's the biggest challenge for you when you know it's something you got to get, but you know it's going to be hard?
Well, the biggest thing is figuring out everybody's mood is the first part. Like, I'm 2 years younger than Ryan. Me and Ryan have the exact same birthday, so I really appreciate you, like, pushing this forward. But when I was starting to cover the sport and Ryan was hitting his stride, Ryan was so notorious that we would go back to the Transworld office with our tails between our legs every weekend because he was just so like, I ain't doing interviews, I ain't this. It's how you figure out what gets the guy to crack. What makes them relatable? What do you have in common? What do you see that makes them just another human at baggage check every Friday or Sunday morning? Like, what is it? And being trustworthy, not burning people. Like, I'm sure I've made quite a few people pissed off over 15 years in it. You can't not. But understanding that there is a dynamic, that it is, you know, the sport that we all love, and there's all these stories that go through it. But how are you trustworthy and dependable and do these things? Because there's things that I've seen that I know, like, ooh, I could go get 100,000 views if I run my mouth right now and say it, but I can get something so much longer term and a better connection if you show your trustworthiness and your dependableness of like, hey, I'm just not another kook that's going to storm into the Yamaha truck and turn my camera on.
Yeah,
do you think Anton, do you think it's easier is not the word, but is it different today going behind the scenes and getting those interviews than it was, say, when you came to the Cowie truck in 2010 to get an interview from me? Is it easier to get, are the riders more open to those types of social media interviews, content? Because I think now we all understand how the power of social media and what it does for everybody.
No, and I think that's exactly what you mean, Ryan. It is different. It's better in some ways. It's harder in others because realistically, 5-6 years ago, almost everybody bought the same camera setup, the same microphone setup, the same lens setup, all of that stuff. So the barrier of entry to become a media person, as far as just the equipment, went down a lot. And then the time turnaround to get a video edited, to get photos edited, to put them out there got so much quicker that in the 15 years that I've been doing this, like the first time I really, really went to the races with Transworld in 2009 and 2010, it was archaic. We were unbelievably impressed if we got 15 photos done before we could get to the next thing or get a video done. Now you almost need to have almost 100 photos done by practice is over. You need to have multiple videos done and get them out and edited. And they all have a much higher standard of quality that you have to go through. And this is not to speak ill of anybody. Like, don't no one take this the wrong way, but there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can bang, bang, bang a bunch of stuff out over and over again, or you can take the time, but it's all going to get there because people are so hungry to see what's going on. And exactly like you said with the riders, some guys have gotten much more open because they understand transparency is huge. And that's how you connect with people. And then other people have become a little bit more closed off and a little more leery because anything you can and do is going to be used against you at one point or another. So it's just kind of the balance of that. As we get further into the conversation, that is something I kind of want to talk about that we're going to see go through this year, because the transparency aspect is bigger than ever. You see guys doing vlogs and social media, and we know what it takes to do, you know, the bare minimum to be fit, to do the bicycle rides, to do the gym work, to do the motos. But it's how you approach the attitude of it. Do you get so hunkered down that you can't think of anything else? Or do you just try to make it another element to your everyday life? To see how many guys are going to get to go through that this year and who puts the pieces together, and then who shows us, the spectators, the fans, the media people, the guys like you that are trying to dissect it as well. That's going to be tremendous. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest things we see this year, is just how open everyone is and what we're able to absorb through that.
Yeah, it's a different world for sure, RV, right, these days. And there's guys that are full exclusivity, and then there's guys that are full on inclusive. I listen, dude, I use the example of this. I was the inclusive guy, right? I was just, it was how I was taught from my mentors, how my upbringing. You go out, you win, you don't tell anybody what you're doing. And when you win, you're going to make money. And that's your branding, right? Right or wrong. It's just a different approach. Then I look at a guy like Travis Pastrana, who never said no to anything, was always there. I mean, he was full exclusivity. It worked out for him. It doesn't always work out. My way doesn't always work out. His way doesn't always work out. But he was on the other opposite end of what I was on. Same in your world, RV, right? You were full on, dude. Screw this. I'm going to go win. I'm going to go beat your ass every single weekend. And I'm going to make a lot of money doing it. And I'm going to ride off into the sunset. There are times, I can tell you now, RV, I don't know how you feel about this. I've never had this conversation. I haven't, and Michael, I haven't talked to you about this, but there are times where I probably should have been more open. And it wasn't that I was doing it to be an asshole or be rude or anything like that, because I always respected the press. I didn't have much to say, and I didn't want to share anything. So there's no reason to really talk. So anyhow, I wish I could do it over, and I would have been more open and more generous with my time. I mean, would you have been, RV?
Yeah, I would have done a lot of things different, for sure, in that department. You know, I was very kind of closed off, standoffish. Also, it took me a long time to, trust isn't the word, but just get to know somebody. Me open up to Anton or Pulp or this guy or whoever it was coming to get stuff, and I'd have my dad there. You know, he's going to come over and do an interview, and I blow it off or whatever. Not blow the interview off, but wasn't as receptive as I could have been to it. I really never told a ton of people, no, you're not getting an interview. But it could have been, if it was to say 1 through 10, and I gave a 5 for an interview, I could have easily given an 8 or 9, just if I would have changed my mentality just a little bit. And it wasn't a lot. I just needed to be more open and get to know these people, because like Anton said, they're trying to get to know the riders and figure out who they are as kind of humans. And the same thing, everybody's got a job to do. 37 years old now I know that. At 24, 25, I didn't put much thought into that. And I made Anton's life hard, and a few other guys, I'm sure.
Oh no. And RV, I completely agree. I think it's that when I was in my 20s and I was running around and I was just so determined to make a good impression on Don and show that I was capable of doing what I could do. But you just kind of get lost in the fog of, I have to be here for me. I have this objective that I'm trying to do. It's not until you get years down the road and it's not life or death anymore. And like, again, dude, I was 20 something years old trying to figure out the dynamics of multi-million-dollar athletes and multi-million-dollar race teams. And what's the boundary that you can step on or not. As I've gotten older and I see things in a different way, like, I'll tell you, it's crazy to me that I still think of myself as this young little kid, like I'm going to get ran out of the KTM truck by Roger at any minute. But I'm older than almost everybody is now. Like Eli is the old man in the class and I'm older than him. And how I have to view these kids now is completely different. And it snuck up on me. It blows me away.
There's
Yeah.
some, I mean, I'm 46 and dude, there's dudes that were in diapers when I was racing or even when I was retired. I mean, think about that. So I've been like, these dudes didn't even see me race live. Only
Yeah.
thing they know is what they see on YouTube, RV. I'm like, dude, I'm with you though. I will say this, as far as the job that you have done, Anton, you've done an incredible job. You've worked with the best guys, you know, RV. I mean, and you think like, so all these other guys that you work with now and have to talk to, I would hope that they respect you. And you've always done a great job as far as your etiquette, you know, your business etiquette, and that goes a long way. And like, whether it's my analysis on the NBC shows or whether it's RV and I here talking on Title 24, like, listen, dude, we do this because we like it. It's not our main source of income. We just love talking about the sport and want to share our knowledge. And we're not out here to make anybody look bad. And we also want them to have their, you know, their voice. And that's where, you know, RV was and myself as well wanted to have someone like you on here to get those behind the scenes and like, all right, what the hell happened on lap 15, dude? Like you were leading and you started to fall back and you got third place. Like, and you're the guy that, you know, we're not going to burn them. We want to hear it from the horse's mouth. I don't know.
No, and that's exactly what I want to do. What you said, Ricky, about how I conduct myself and all of that, it's not an accident. This is the job I've wanted since I was 10 years old, to be the person that I've always tried to be, have the respect of two guys that I respect tremendously. I mean, that's incredible. But the number one thing is anybody that I put a microphone in front of, or if I come up to them to ask them something, I want them to know that I'm not doing this for some kind of justification of myself or an ego boost or whatever. I know what it takes to go racing. I see it firsthand. I see it. And I just want to give these guys, if they're willing or not, the opportunity to say it. And if they don't, dude, I completely understand. You're not going to have something to say every day. But the number one thing as I go into, you know, my 15th, 16th year as a hard card holding representative of the sport is for everybody to know that if I'm there, it's there to do the best I can, treat this sport with the respect that it deserves, and showcase it the best way that I can. I'm not there to just kind of make controversy or make myself the star of it. I just want to tell you guys what happened. If somebody botches a rhythm section and you guys saw it and I get the chance to ask the question and we get to put the answer right here, that's what I'm here to do. Something you said, Ricky, about how this isn't your guys' source of income, you know, it's not your main source. That's actually something for this coming year that's so rewarding for me. I have to do a couple different jobs to pay for my way to go to the races, you know, dropping stuff off, cleaning up dirty things, whatever. But because I'm earning my keep in the paddock, it gives me such a bigger sense of fulfillment and respect that it's not just gossiping about people that keeps the power on at my house or puts food in my kid's mouth. It's what I'm doing to go there. And then I can just show from a pure love of the sport what I see. It's not like I have live and die by, you know, what kind of clickbait am I going to put out?
Yeah, totally. I'm with you, dude. Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate that. You got Anton, you got any questions? I know we kind of went off course there, but this is all good shit. You got any questions for me and RV?
I do. I have quite a few,
dude, I don't make predictions. RV can make predictions. I give my analysis. Okay. So don't ask me who I think is going to win, because you know I'm not going to give you the answer. So go ahead.
Well, realistically, I'm not interested in that kind of thing either. I can watch the race and figure out who got what position and why. You know, I think you can put that together and you guys can do that. And I'm also not in the one that's going to try to make a bold prediction or a hot take. What I want to know from you guys is, how do you do it? What is it that makes it go through? Because you guys live it every day. One of the questions that I had as we come into Anaheim 1, what's that last week like for you guys as racers? Or now that you're in this position, what's it like for you? I know the work that I have to do all my laundry, to have all my equipment set up, even base settings on my photos and my cameras. So I know it's just a seamless day when I show up to Angel Stadium on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. For you guys, what is that like? You know, because it's almost Groundhog's Day when you're at Angel Stadium 2-3 times a year, 5 times with media days wrapped in. How do you get into that routine and just keep it mellow through the whole day?
Yeah, man.
Go ahead, RV. Go for
Well,
it.
I think, I think you go through stages actually, when it comes to your, say, a rookie coming in, right? You don't know what to expect and you're dealing with a whole bunch of different things, new feelings, new smells, and a lot of nerves, right? And then let's pull a guy like Eli or Jason Anderson or Kenny, right? That have been in this sport for a long time now, have seen multiple Anaheim ones come and go. And, I think leading into let's call it the week before, like you said, it's almost it's the calm before the storm. It's the easiest part of our routine leading into Anaheim. Couple just sharpening of the knife here or there, testing's done, you're actually a little less on the riding load part of it, so that you're coming in a little more fresh for the start of the season. But in that being said, in that little bit of downtime, that's kind of where what I'd said earlier in the show of like making sure that your mind doesn't wander on the side of, have I done enough? What, is the bike good enough? What are we going to see? Is James going to be faster than me than this year? Have I bridged the gap a little bit? So there's a little bit of that comes into play also. And I think guys that have their mind wander more than others. Me personally, I was kind of like, hey, I came into the season like, hey, whatever's going to happen is really going to happen. I can't change anything this week leading in. So let's just get to the test track, ride 2 or 3 more days, stay off the ground and come in is fit and as ready as we can and as recovered as we can. And whatever's going to happen is going to happen. That was my take on it. Yeah. And I'm assuming, like I said, there's different parts, different seasons all through that of these riders' careers. Like I said, coming in as a rookie or going out as a 32-year-old to Anaheim one, it's completely different.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I always felt it, Anton. I always felt like it was a challenging week because you talked about routine. Dude, I was a big routine guy. RV, I think, especially when you're at Eldon's, I mean, dude, it is all about routine and never disrupt the routine or do everything you can in your power not to disrupt that routine. So as you can imagine, there's some lifts there from sponsors and manufacturers, and just, being a leader. And when you're, there are duties that come with being Supercross champion. Press conferences, things of that. People want more of your time. RV, all about it. So it was more of that stuff for me leading up to A1 is that was challenging because I wasn't able to just go ride and knock out my motos and my checklist items that I needed to do that gave me the mental confidence going into each weekend. Who knows? Maybe that's one reason why I didn't win Anaheim 1, because it just knocked me off of my routine, just that little bit that it took. And I didn't have that mental confidence that I needed. So that was the challenging part. And again, I kind of liked to fly under the radar, and just everyone was so hyped about it that I was just more like, let's just get it done and let's get out of here with a great finish. It was challenging for me.
Okay, another thing that I would love to know, because this is something, as I've gotten older, I understand the importance of it just as part of your race day routine. But in the chaos of Anaheim 1, it seems like it would be almost as important as it would be on a championship clinching day. Where would you find a moment of peace just to yourself after you had done practice or after something maybe had happened, just to kind of get yourself right before everything goes on? Like I said, I know on Saturday I have to go get like 15 minutes of myself just to know, like, I did it. There's nothing else I can do. I can just walk back into the stadium, do what I'm supposed to do, and that's it.
Go ahead, RC.
Dude, for me, man, that is a killer question. RV, this hit me like a ton of bricks. I think the moment when they clear the pits, you're headed down for opening ceremonies. You go through opening ceremonies because it's cool, the first 5 or 6 weekends to be in there and see what the new run of the show is and what that's like. And then I would say once after that first heat race that I got done with that and I went back, decompressed, where are we at? Had the bike work. What do we think the track is going to be like for the main event? Let's make sure that we get it spot on. That's really when it hit for me and everything and all the hype of Anaheim until the gate dropped, like for that first main event of the season. That was kind of like a reprieve from all of the hype and all of the buildup to where we were right there. Is after that heat race. That's where it was for me.
Yeah, I think there's different stages out through the day. At any one of these Supercross, you're there pretty early and you're there obviously very late. For me, what I would do, I wouldn't isolate myself. Let's say I always had a motorhome, so I wouldn't go and I was in the truck a lot. If I was left alone, let's say, I feel like that's when things would kind of start running through my head. So I would always be in the truck most of the time with, mechanics, let's call it Big B, the truck driver, being around people like that. It was almost like as the pressure would set in throughout the day of practice and maybe it didn't go as well, I was always in the truck. I didn't escape that pressure by going in and just being by myself. For whatever, I handled it better with being around people and trying to lighten the mood with maybe jokes or talking and just being around. And to your point, RC, once the pits get cleared, at that point, that's when it kind of all sets in. For me, it was when it all kind of sets in. Okay, here it's kind of go time, and it's mellow, pits are empty, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Race the heat race and kind of see how that all played out. And if we had to make any changes going into the main event, we would, based on a collective group. And I think I was always really, really good at relying on not just my information that I would trust myself so much. I would ask Big B, I'd ask Kurt Rude, Mikey, my mechanic, all the different guys, like, hey, what is our, what'd you guys see? Because I feel one thing, but you guys are seeing another thing, and really rely on that team. So yeah, that's kind of how I dealt with the days of racing throughout the day.
Okay. If I can ask two more things before we get this going. We know, just as much as anybody does, there's as much hype about what you guys are going to wear as it is of how you're going to finish. So what was it like for you to pick with your gear companies or your sponsors, even the logo placement on the helmet, a custom painted helmet, whatever it was? What was it like for you guys to go through that, knowing Anaheim 1 is just as much a marketing event as it is a race?
Well, I think that's changed a little bit since me and RC raced, really. I mean, I was with Thor for my entire career. RC was Fox.
Yep.
Honestly, I had that really didn't play a factor, or I didn't really think. They didn't ask me. Andy G, right? He's still there currently at Thor. And that wasn't a big topic on my front when it came to like, hey, what are we going to wear? Is custom gear this, custom gear that? The gear industry's changed a little bit when it comes to that. I think to your point of what you said, huge marketing display. Sure. You win on Saturday, you sell gear on Monday, Tuesday, right? That's kind of was like the old theory about it, now with social media and custom drops and all these different things. It's different now than it was when I raced, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I had a little bit of say so, but we knew what the colorways were already coming into the season. And sometimes they had like limited edition drop Foxwood, not always, but sometimes they would. So they'd want us to wear that for obvious reasons. But I didn't have a whole lot of say. I was always down with what they were willing to suggest. And a lot of it was just, what they suggested. And I was like, yeah, I like that. Bring it on. So pretty simple stuff. I'm with RV. I think a lot of guys are more involved in those decisions now. And it's cool. I think a lot of the gear companies do a great job with collabs or limited editions. I love the LE lines. I think it's just fun. It's something new and not the old run of the mill.
Mm-hmm. That's cool to hear, because there are so many times that I can think of seeing you guys in something, Ryan in some Volcom stuff or Ricky in some Fox Honda stuff that came out that, I mean, it's just burned into my brain. That was when I was 12 or 17 or 19 or whatever it was. That was just the look. And I like hearing that from you guys, because as the fan, that's what we're frothing about. That's what we can't wait to see is how does that bike with the new graphics and the gear all put together look. The last thing I'll ask before we get this going, because now you guys are on the opposite side of it. You know, as a racer, you see all of the chaos of Anaheim 1. And exactly like you said, the pits are just a party from the time that they open the gate until they usher everybody out. Out in the parking lot, there's tailgates and all that stuff going on. Now that you guys are out of being in the center of attention, and now that you guys could go up to the Knot Hole Club, well, you can't, Ricky, but that you are out of it and you can understand what the party of Anaheim 1 is. What was it like to view it as a racer? And then now what's it like to view it as a spectator?
I'm jealous I can't be in the Knot Hole Club, honestly.
Yeah,
When
well,
that's
where I'll be this year. That's where I'll be, is in the Knot Hole this year.
I'm gonna try to get you in the booth. I'm not. No, you ain't getting out that early. Come on, guy.
Yeah. No, it's different. You know, I think in Anton, it's different every stadium you go to, right? Like if Anaheim 1 kind of brings out every walk of life, and it's Southern California, the kind of birthplace of Supercross. But then say I always loved going to Indy, right? Lucas Oil Stadium. Awesome stadium, different crowd, different people than say what Anaheim 1 brings out. I feel like Anaheim 1 brings out a lot of the especially California rounds in general, but Anaheim 1 especially. You know, maybe it's more of the social media guru or the influencer or the movie person here or there. You have just so many different collective people that get brought into Anaheim. And being in my position, right, used to be a racer, and now as a fan sitting there, it's amazing to see the different walks of life that show up to Anaheim, and that the people that are there to watch the show. It's because that's what it is. It's a hell of a time. It's a good show. And watching these athletes do one of the gnarliest sports, in my opinion, probably that's out there to do. I think the only thing that I would consider being similar is riding a bull, you know, PBR.
You need to get Monster to take you to a PBR event. Get on one.
I know.
Get on one of those bad boys. Did you see? I think it was Chad Ochocinco. He got on one. Oh, dude, you guys gotta watch that. It was absolutely wild, dude. He got on there, like literally got bucked off instantly, and he had like Ty Murray as his coach, the whole bit, dude. It was so funny. So funny. I don't know. I've got to experience a little bit there, Anton, after I retired from racing, and I was doing NASCAR for 3 or 4 years after that. And then when we had RCH, you know, when I wasn't in the booth, I was able to kind of enjoy it once in a while. My friends that I stay with in California, when I've been out there, they always get a suite for the opener. So I was able to experience a little bit, but certainly when I'm done being in the booth, for sure, I'm going to go out there and enjoy it as a fan, because I am a fan of the sport, and I love to have a good time just as much as RV does. So it'll be fun to experience it yet again. Knowing that there's not much left in the horizon for me, to just go there and just be a normal fan and hang out and watch everybody else have fun and see everyone else's reaction. It'll be cool.
Cool.
Well,
hey boys, thank you again for this opportunity. I'm super excited to show what I can and represent you guys, because I mean, to have that mark of, you know, confidence in you guys. I've been around, like you said, Ricky, I've been around everybody. The relationships that I have, the people that I know, all of those things, it's a trip. It's a trip to be in this position and to go into this year with what I have on my plate, and a lot of it due to you guys. I appreciate it so much, and I hope to do really, really well by you and give the fans and everybody a good look at what it takes to do this.
Yeah, you'll do a great job, dude. We have all the trust in the world. We're stoked to have you as part of the team here at Title 24, Michael. We appreciate it. You've done a great job. Your results speak for yourself, and you talked about it's not always about clicks. It's about etiquette and giving the fans what they want to see. And you know, we have a high level of etiquette here. And we just want to do a good job for everybody. So we're pumped that you're on board, and we will see you at Anaheim this weekend. Before we go to break, though, when we come back, we're going to bring in our man Clinton Fowler from We Went Fast. Looking forward to that, and we'll see you guys here in a second. Welcome back to Title 24. Introducing Clinton Fowler for the Boxo breakdown section of the podcast today. Clinton Fowler from We Went Fast, the king of the calculator, all that fun stuff. The guy that we give a lot of crap to in the booth. I say we, definitely not me, by any stretch of the never, dude. I never have any fun in that booth. But Clinton, first and foremost, how was your holiday? How's the new baby? And how was your new year?
It's good. It's, it's a little bit of an adventure when you get 2 under 2 years old. So sleep, who needs sleep? We're good. A1, here we go.
That's overrated. Well, dude, you play an intricate role into the production, the TV production, with your stats and the value that you bring, not only to the on air, the show, but RDL and just the sport in general. You do a killer job. There's no doubt about it, and that's why you're in the position that you're in. We're stoked to have you. For sure. And then of course the personal side of things, you're a great person to be around, but congratulations on everything. Stoked to have another year with you. First and foremost, dude, so I was looking at the notes and everything. Explain to everybody about the fast power index that you've come up with and what that looks like and how we're going to be implementing that into this year's broadcast and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you had asked for, I don't know, years about strength to schedule, RC.
Yeah.
So I finally took an off season to put this together a little bit. And there you go. Not a prediction. It's not championship standings. We're just trying to look at, based off of the facts, based off of the stats, who is the strongest rider headed into the season. And this is the preseason edition that you see here. We'll do in season as we go. I think the most important piece here is to recognize this is just evaluating more of the skills and the strength of each rider. And in particular, we're looking at starts, and everybody focuses on hole shots, but it's not just hole shots. It's hole shot into that first corner. It's getting to the white line. And most importantly, it's getting to the first lap. And I can't stress enough, the first lap, that finish line, going over that finish line the first time, super important metric. So we're looking at that. We're looking at speed, speed in the main event, raw, fastest speed, heat lap, and qualifying. I think you guys can appreciate it's not just in one of those, but it's across all of those. You got to build throughout the day. And I can talk about a little bit about Eli. And then you got to get podiums. And you got to get starts. You got to be at the starts, as we know with Jet Lawrence injured. You can't win races if you're not at the start. So
availability is a premium, right? I mean, It's just like where is that delta from, availability and skill and all that stuff. Like there's a delta there, and it's crazy. Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah. So anyhow, the PFI basically now puts together a stack rank based off of the skills, speed and start and availability and getting on the podium. So we can now start the bench racing. I've had plenty of people comment. We got Eli Tomac at number 7. There's some unhappy folks there.
Well, RV. So just so you know, like when we be in the booth, and this was early on, and a lot of like I get it's just an interesting convo, and okay, who's the best? I'm like, well, do you just go by on race wins? Do you go by on champions? Like, okay, there were some years where I raced, and I don't know how it was for you, RV, where the field probably had some more depth than others. I feel like there's a lot of depth now. So, so that's where I'm like strength of schedule, and they get it a lot in college football, right? And this is where I kind of learn from it. And I just have a base level knowledge of strength of schedule. And so that's what I would always go to Clinton. I'm like, there's all these numbers and this guy did this and this guy did that, but like, how do you know if the guy is good when, or if he's the best, or like where does strength and schedule fit into it? I'm like, dude, you got to find a way. There's got to be some kind of metric to measure that and measure the talent that you're racing against. I mean, yeah, I didn't have as many guys, but I also was racing the king of Supercross. Whereas, guys that were racing you, I mean, you're a 4-time champ, you got over 40 Supercross wins, and what is it, 44, right?
I think 41, 44, Clinton, something like
I
that.
think it's 44, right?
Something like that. 41, I think.
Is it 41? Maybe Reedy's got 44.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reedy's 44.
So 44, there you go. So I'm just like, dude, like there's got to be some value there, because for some guys it's, they're getting cut short, and other guys they're getting maybe more cred than they deserve. I mean, I don't want to, don't take that the wrong way by any stretch. So anyhow, this is kind of where this originated from, RV, and I'm glad that you have put that in there, Clint. That's I think it's a more true reading for sure. I don't know.
It causes, when you look at just the numbers, I've talked actually to a couple of riders and they see it, and it's eye opening where you rank. You use it as a scouting report. It's eye opening when you actually look at the facts and where did you rank on speed? Where were you on the starts? I'll throw one out to you. Like, here's a question for you. Who do you think is the best starter over the last 2 years? Who's got the best first lap position from 2024 and 2025?
Go ahead, RB.
I guess I'm gonna just straight up guess. Let's go Cooper, Justin Cooper. I have no idea.
Cooper Webb. Cooper Webb
Really?
is your number. He best first line position, 5.1. Right?
Is that when they cross the line or when they cross the flag?
That's when they cross the finish line. Yep.
Lap
So
one.
and sometimes it won't be the first lap, right? It might only be halfway through.
Whatever. Yeah.
But it's amazing when you look at the facts, right? A lot of people will actually say Justin Cooper's a pretty good one because he tends to be a pretty good starter, halfway reasonable starter. But like Jet Lawrence and Hunter Lawrence have been phenomenal starters the last 2 years, right? But the reality is Cooper Webb has an ability to just get to that finish line on the first lap better than most anybody, 5.1, which is absolutely incredible. You look at Eli Tomac, throw out another one for you. Eli Tomac is 8.1 over the last 2 years on the first lap. He's 3 positions behind where Cooper Webb is. So when you look at the rankings and you see Eli Tomac at 7th, it's like, well, the facts don't lie here. On the first lap, and Eli knows this. We talked to him, RC, on media days. He knows he's got to work on starts.
He does. Yeah.
Not going to win a lot of those races, RV, if you're on 8th in the first lap.
No, I kind of feel like this is a major asset for team managers here.
It is, dude. Think about that, RV. Like, you think, like, imagine if you had that data for you in your time. I mean, I feel like you already knew where you needed to improve, but I feel like sometimes in these days, like, they need a little more info to help them hone in on where they need to be. That's crazy.
From a rider standpoint, like, I can just remember, okay, but, let's go back 10 years or, whatever. Let's go back and say, okay, well, who's available, right? Just from a team manager. Okay, here's who's available. Here's who we can try to get. And I think that's what a lot of them, they would go off of race results also, right? Like who was consistent, who wasn't, but it was pretty archaic. It's like, okay, here's who's available. And we know he's typically at the end of the season, he's either a championship hunt or he's a top 5 guy, depending on what seat they're trying to fill. Is it a championship guy? Is it a top 5 guy or whatever? Now it's like, what Clint developed and has now, it's let alone works for team managers, like you said, riders working you improve, trainers, things like that. It's actually going through it with a fine-tooth comb instead of it just kind of being right in front of you, black and white on paper. It's very it's way more information now.
Clint, let me ask you this. I'm putting you on the hot seat. So with all your numbers and all this data we have, or that I say we, that you have built. What do the numbers tell us who's going to be the 2026 SMX 450 World Champion?
I mean, top of stack, whether you want to believe the facts or not, but the facts say Chase
Well,
Sexton.
no, you say Sexton. So on the numbers game,
Yeah.
data is showing Sexton is going to be the champion.
I will say this: he is going to be the strongest candidate. Now, if it's not a prediction, this doesn't predict who's going to win, right? It tells you who's going to be the strongest. You like this? I'm pulling an RC sitting on the fence. No predictions here, but it's a prediction. I'll give you my prediction, but the fast power index tells you Sexton by far the strongest headed into Supercross. Looks like the guy to beat. Right? Like speed's there, his starts are there. He's on the podium the most over the last 2 years. Yeah, so he's the strongest. Now, he's got to show up every week. He's got to keep it on two wheels every week. He's got to adapt, probably the most important thing, adapt to that new bike and a new team, right? That's probably the variable there. So
you mean you're not, you mean your program don't factor that in?
No factor. I can't factor in hype. I can't factor in variables like.
See, that's what. Hey, you see what I'm saying, RV? Like I'm always challenging. I'm like, well, what? Because like like Nick Saban, like he can't stand stats, right? He can't stand them. He's like, that's the one thing that's all these stats. I got all these stats guys coming to me telling me we need to go for it on third down in this scenario. Or we need to go for it on fourth down scenario. I will say this, dude. And you know it, and this is where stats have changed the game, in my opinion. Like I have listen. I pay attention to it at a base level. You watch NFL games, teams are always going for it on fourth down now because stats show 60% of the time they're going to convert. Right? Yep. It's changed the game, and then now here you go. It's changing. It's helping riders. I truly believe that.
You see it in the NBA that people are 3-point shot way more prominent than a 2-point shot now, and there's changes there, and that's driven by the stats. But I'm sure RV would have been pumped on the line to be or the post debrief after a race here, and the stats coming off after a victory and being like, speed, still got to work on the speed, buddy.
Yeah, well, one thing stats can't measure, RV. There's another thing I got from Saban is it can't measure that space in between the ears.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, where are you at? Where are you at with the fast power index on who is the clear favorite? RV? Well, I think it's bullshit or what?
I think it's interesting, like I want to know. So you gave us what it's, that's not a prediction, but who's looking the best when you said it was Chase. What's second through fifth? I want top five.
Yeah, top five. Okay, so we got Sexton at the top, clear favorite. Webb number 2, Jet Lawrence, he's third. He's out injured. This one's people. Yeah, we've got.
Hold up, dude. You mean to tell me they had Jet third?
Third. That's what happens when he's only got 19 podiums in the last 2 years versus 31 for a guy like Sexton, 26 for a guy like Cooper Webb. That's going to impact. You got to show up. You got to be available.
Availability, right?
Yeah, and more important, interesting piece on Jet Lawrence. He's ranked 4th on starts with a 6.1. Right. So a full position behind where Webb is. So when you look at just from a skill perspective, his first lap position is one off of the best of Webb. And he's behind Webb, Sexton, and Roczen from a first lap position rank. So his speed is completely unmatched, right? Like he 100% leads in the speed side. There's no questioning that. But the start's good, but not the best. And that has an impact on where he sits on it. But yeah, so you got Sexton, you got Webb, you got Jet Lawrence. This is where it starts to get controversial, or at least where people make some comments. Roczen goes 4th, Plessinger, Anderson, Tomac. So I'll go to 7. That's the top 7. That's where the numbers state. That's the just using the facts. That's it.
That's where like I feel like really hoses Eli and Jet is. I mean, come on, dude. You know Eli's better than that. but that's where the availability comes in.
Well, I was going to say the last, 2 years, injuries
Yeah.
have played a role in that, and that's going to affect that number for sure.
Yeah. Him and Jet only have 29 starts out of 46 possible. And when I say 46, guys, that includes individual Triple Crown races. We look at gate drops. We look at the gate drops, not the overall.
Yeah. What if you took out, could you do that like what RV is asking you? Could you do that number and take out like races that they didn't race? Like what, like a perfect scenario, like if they did race?
Yeah, I mean, I could put it to just the ones where Eli and Jet and compare them all on that one and rerun it and see where they land. That might be an interesting scenario play. I might have to, maybe before we get to the race here this weekend at Anaheim 1, that one's not too difficult.
I mean, that's kind of like, where are you at with it, RV? Like, I know you got to be available, but just assuming they're going to be available, do you feel like it changes? Like, where are you at?
I think, I mean, I guess you can't measure like how close, right? It's just giving you first through, down the roster. But I think that if you take the availability out of that and you just take their race performances, dude, that top 5, it's got Webb, it's got Sexton, it's got Jet, it's got Hunter. I mean, yeah, it's got all of those big dogs. And where does it fall in actually? Like Clinton will have to run those numbers if the availability part and actually who's there. Does it change? Does it move Sexton down to second?
I don't think we're going to see Sexton drop because he's got 46 starts. He's 46 for 46. So he's been 100% available. And I think in those head-to-heads, but you never know. Like it could be that when Jet's there, it's not quite as good. Or when Eli's there, it's not quite as good. But I think Chase, when I look at the numbers on Chase, man, they are just so good. It's the challenge is sometimes those mistakes, right? Now, the reality is that I think comes from more 2022, 2023, 2024 and 2025. He's actually not made nearly the mistakes that he once did. So I think Chase still probably ends up there, but hey, I'll run.
So this is his breakout year, Clint. This is his breakout year.
It could be. We'll see. I don't know. You rode a lot of that green bike. He's got to make that work for him now, right? I think that's going to be the variable for him. You can't underestimate, if we're talking about predictions, Webb's got a new bike and he doesn't have Eli Tomac testing. I think that's going to be a big variable too. So both of those guys at the top of the power ranking, that makes it tough, right? Like they're both going to have to adapt to a new bike.
So this fast power index, are we updating it? Like, tell us our listeners what is that going to entail? What does it look like each week on the broadcast and RDL?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is it's just another piece that's available. This is the preseason one that we're sharing right now. We'll have an in-season one. It'll be based off of 4 weeks of data. So the first 3 weeks, we'll publish it and use it. But it's really most valuable when we get 4 weeks of data and we use it kind of as a rolling average. But it's just another way to look at it and say, hey, take out circumstances like bike mechanical or a crash or those things. Like, what is the actual strength of these riders coming in? And so it's another way to evaluate rider performance. Still doesn't take away, RC, like you like to mention. It takes championships. Championships is the only thing that matters. But it's another way for us to evaluate the riders, look at them from a skill and what they're doing on the track.
Yeah, it is. Listen, dude, I'm old school, RV. You know this, Clint, you know this. For people who don't know me behind the scenes, like I'm just old school. I think like I would forfeit so many race wins for championships. I feel like, I don't know. We've had this conversation, RV. I'm a championship guy. That I love race wins. I mean, of course I do. There's some race wins that people remember more than championships, but dude, you got to be a badass to win championships multiple times. I mean, RV, you have the winningest your race win percentage is the highest of anybody in Supercross, I believe. Championships, right? Clint?
Win percent, yeah, win percent was
your win
incredible in Supercross.
Yeah, you're over McGrath, you're over me, you're over Bubs, everybody. You're the leader in that. You have four championships. I mean, I'm a
Yeah.
championship guy. I don't know.
I agree, man. Like no matter how you slice it, race wins are cool. They pay some bills, but longevity and what we're all trying to get out of this career of racing dirt bikes is the big picture is championships. Those are the ones that get you into, not always, but get you into those record books of AMA Hall of Fame and things like that. And you can do it without championships. You can.
Yeah, you can.
But yeah, paying the bills and putting money in the bank and everything that comes along with it. The whole goal is your parents did it to you. My parents did it to me.
Yeah.
The goal is to win championships. And it starts out at a young age doing amateur nationals, right? Like, okay, great. A race wins. Awesome. But when you leave Loretta Lynn's, don't matter. It's a 3-moto format. If you win 2 of them and you botch the 3rd race and you don't get that AMA number 1 plate, everybody knows that who did, right? So that's kind of how we were all bred is championship wise. And I think there's different people out there too that will know or that never will have that opportunity to win a championship, but their whole goal is to have a great career, put money in the bank, and get race wins, which is a huge feat in itself also.
Yeah, it is. Clinton, thanks for coming on, dude. Are you going to bless us with your presence at Anaheim this weekend?
I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait.
He's got to get out of the rain up here.
I need some sun, boys. I need to get some sun. Have you see this pasty white?
Oh, dude, that's going to be something going to Seattle in the first quarter of the year. It's I don't know.
Valentine's Day, man. February 14th.
That's right. It's Valentine's Day that day. Fast power index. I love it. Strength of schedule. I'm telling you, in my opinion, is like it means a lot to a lot of people. Interesting what the fast power index has for the SMX World Championship favorites early on. It's going to be fun to see 4 or 5 weekends down the road what those numbers and how those numbers change, and if they do at all. I don't know. Good stuff, dude. Good work. Good work. Thanks for coming on today, and glad everybody's good. Glad the fam's good, and yeah, dude, that's it.
See you day 1, gents.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna go out and run some equipment, Clinton, this cold weather up here.
All right. Thanks a lot, Clinton, for coming on there. We went fast. Does a great job. Dude, the fast power index was interesting. Dude, I like that where you like top 5. It's crazy. Like, yeah, when you throw in when you're not available, how the numbers just plummet. So we'll see how it we'll circle back the end of the season and see how right the numbers was. All right, that's it for Boxer Breakdown. Like I said, let's go on to Quad Lock question of the week. If you haven't, check out quadlockcase.com. But our winner this week, congratulations to Mose_LLC. You are the winner of the Quad Lock question of the week. Mose asks, should the AMA allow for more bike modification similar to MXGP or implement more restrictions to slow the bikes down, potentially increase rider safety? Fair.
Yeah, it's a good question, RC. Yeah, MXGP has the call it the factory rule where they're able to run bikes at non-production bikes, will if you call it. Not that everybody does it in MXGP, but they don't have that restriction of OEM cases and certain things, right? They're able to do more things than we can. I don't know, other than data and development side of not of MXGP being able to do that. And getting, say, a new bike design on track early, I don't know how much that makes a difference in our racing, or if the manufacturers even go, if they were able to do that. And why I say that is the bikes are so damn good these days. And I'm just, yes, I have seat time on a Yamaha. I haven't rode anything else, obviously a Yamaha ambassador, but I can just go off of what we had to do to our motorcycles when I raced professional. Everybody knows your setup when you raced. It evolved a lot through your whole career. It, there was a lot of things that we had to do to our bikes that the riders don't have to do today. For a perfect example, I can take my YZ450 right out of the crate and I can go ride it. Stock suspension, stock bars, stock everything. And it's a comfortable machine to ride. And I think they're all like that. Now there's pros and cons to every manufacturer, good, where they're good and maybe where they're not so good and things like that. But you don't have these huge areas where, hey man, I can't, if I don't cut the subframe and shorten it a little bit or shorten the shock or this or cut the seat, I can't ride it. I don't see that today on any manufacturer. So I don't know how much it would change. I think it would cost the manufacturers a shit ton more money to be able to do that. The point of the production rule is to make sure the privateers and the factory riders, there isn't such a big gap in between them. I personally am one of the ones that believes, regardless of running a production motorcycle or a full, call it factory motorcycle, it doesn't change the privateer, the gap between privateer and the factory riders. I personally don't think so. But all in all, I think it would cost everybody a ton more money.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, dude. You explained that so well. And I think another thing, just to expand on why it probably wouldn't make the impact nowadays like it did back in the day. Like you go, like everyone talks about how factory Honda used to be like the pinnacle, right? The David Bailey Osho days, Rick Johnson days, and just how gnarly they were. But if you remember, like machining wasn't as good back then as it is now. I mean, these guys like RV was talking about, to expand on what he said, is like all the tricks that we used to do when things were handmade are all implemented on those machines, and they can get it so dialed in. And yeah, tooling and dime and machining is just is so spot on that these bikes are incredible. And again, I think that they should be, allowed to do certain things, but it's not going to be like it was back in the day, because these things come out of the crate just performing at such a high level. Great explanation and great question, Mo's LLC. That was really cool. Yeah. Definitely times have gotten better for these dirt bikes. It blows my mind, RV, every time I get on these things. It's wild. Before we go to the Motorsports on NBC, I want to give a massive shout out to all of the fans on a little competition that was on supercrosslive.com. But my design for the 2026 won, and it was a fan voted competition, one for best track of the year. It was a bracket format, so it had to beat out a few different courses on its way to win. I mean, you think about Anaheim, how many people love Anaheim. I think about Glendale and what they're able to do there in State Farm Stadium. I must say this, and giving credit to where it's due, I got a bunch of great people behind the scenes that help with this design. It's not easy. A lot goes into it. First and foremost from a safety standpoint and in the parameters. And I don't think, RV, that a lot of people understand, what we have to abide by at Daytona International Speedway. And there's certain things that we can't do from a safety perspective that really somewhat narrow it up. I'm humbled by the fan vote. You guys are the best. I appreciate that. And again, I appreciate all the help that I get. Also the guys, everyone from Daytona International Speedway. And then of course, the SMX track crew, Dirtworks. They do a great job. They help me with it as well. Couldn't do it without you guys. So you guys deserve a lot of that. So there you go, RV. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's cool. That Daytona track map looks like Daytona is always a special race.
Yeah.
It's cool that you get to design that and have a part in that, and then
it's fun.
Yeah, and then you have RCSX right after that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to doing that and trying to get Supercross in one night and amateurs in the next, or how, whatever the timeline gap is, but it's not easy.
No. We do not have a graphic for you for the what's on Motorsports on NBC for this week. So I'm just going to read it to you. But Dakar Rally nightly on NBC Sports Channel on Peacock. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern every night, and it's available on demand afterward if you can't make it at 8 o'clock. And then, of course, the season opener of 2026 SMX World Championship. Round 1 of Super Motocross World Championship is going to kick off 4:30 p.m. Eastern time on NBC. Encore of the preview show with a live drop-ins from Anaheim. That's a really, really great opportunity for the sport. I can't stress to everyone following RV and I here on Title 24. That is massive. And then 6:30 p.m. Eastern time on Peacock, a special pre-race show prior to A1. Another great opportunity there. That'll be live on Peacock. And then 7 p.m. Eastern time is the gate drop. It's going to be awesome. They've moved the schedule up on the West Coast time, so this is all Eastern time. I think that's great for the people on the East Coast. I know it's not always a popular opinion, but if we want to expand the growth, we got to get people being able to watch live on the East Coast. So that's great. That's what Motorsports on NBC, what you can look forward to. Again, massive thanks to Clinton Fowler for coming on from We Went Fast. That's awesome. Love the Fast Power Index. And of course, Micheal Antonovich is our new team member, bringing us behind the scenes. Again, RV was a leading force behind that and really pushing to make that happen. RV, great job on that. Great job today on the pod. Appreciate all of our sponsors, United Motorsports, Quad Lock, Boxo, Dunlop, and Cardo. You guys are the best. Remember, you can see us Motorsports on NBC's YouTube page. Of course, we're on all your favorite podcast applications if you only want to listen to the audio version as well. Damn, dude, that's a lot. That was a lot to unpack.
41, hour 41. I think that's our longest, but no, it's good show, good guest. Stoked on Anton. I think it's going to elevate Title 24. We're going to love to see and going to be able to get that behind the scenes stuff that I think is going to, that we've been missing. And
we've been missing it for sure.
So I'm stoked to see that. And, just like everybody, we're trying to improve and get better. And here we are. And I'm looking forward to see what comes out from Anton's side.
That's right. All right, RV. Well, I will see you at the AIM Expo, hopefully Friday. Or no, Thursday. And for sure, I will see you Saturday in the booth.
All right.
So no cocktails for you. You're going to come in the booth, okay?
All right.
See you guys. See you next Monday.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports. If you enjoyed what you just watched, well, it's time to bring the action and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel. You can have it all: news, highlights, interviews, and analysis. So go for it.